Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. We are back this week after inclement weather and poor planning on our parts. So thank you for that. And was a heck of a week so far. Well, the week's over, but we had Collision and Dynamite and Rampage and all kind of stuff.
Battle of the Belts.
Battle of the Belts.
The marquee show of the week, Battle of the Belts, the one everyone's talking about.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, everything else was better.
Literally everything else they did this week was better.
But yeah, I mean, it was still wrestling.
It was fine.
It was fun. All In is in 42 days. That's nuts to me. We still don't know a match yet.
I mean, we still didn't know the matches for Battle of the Belts until Friday.
That's also true.
Yeah, that's because they made it up on Thursday.
Also true. Yeah, but All In's right around the corner. That's nuts. It seems so far away. Now it's like, oh, the summer's going to end in less than 50 days. I'm not complaining. I love it. Anyways, starting off the week, first match of the week was Commander versus Jericho. It was a good match. Commander's incredible. But the big question, and this is what we'll hit on more than anything, is what's next for Jericho? And is the JAS done?
I hope so.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
I hope it's like a real falling out. I hope it's not just let's all go our separate ways. Like, I hope there's a feud.
Yeah, and the one that made me realize that there actually could be was Hager. Because when he gave the hat back, he was just kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, it kind of seemed like he took it personally. Oh.
Yeah. I know it's jumping ahead in our podcast, but the hat thing was the silliest, but most
greatest thing ever.
Most emotional, meaningful thing that Jake Hager has ever done. It was like handing back a purple hat, but I was like, oh no, he gave it back to him.
Yeah.
He loves that hat.
Yeah. So now what's next for Jake Hager? Does he get a new hat or?
Yeah, he gets a blue hat.
Blue hat?
Or a green hat, or a beret, bow tie.
Does Jericho go full heel with Don Callis?
I don't want him to, because I like Don Callis and Takeshita, and I feel like Jericho getting there, he's going to be the main guy, not Takeshita.
True. Very true. Oh, that's a good one.
Him as a heel is better than him as a face, I think. Jericho, I mean.
Yeah. Unless he would be like a babyface like he does on commentary. I don't mind when he's a good guy there. But other than that, yeah, he's way better of a heel when he's being a wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, Canada hates Don Callis. He got probably the biggest heel ovation, or lack thereof ovation, I guess, hatred of anybody. And that surprised me. Usually Canada likes their people. So were you surprised, Rick?
No, because he turned on Kenny Omega.
True. Very true. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. What is, well,
I like his theme music though. The Don Callis Takeshita theme song. That's just like dread.
Annoying noise.
Yeah. It's just like the sound of dread. Yeah, yes. It's great.
It's very good. We'll get back to Don in a second, but he is also apparently hated in Mexico. Rick, you can tell this story.
Yeah. It initially, when the initial story came out, it seemed like, because anyway, Kenny Omega had a match in Mexico and he lost to Vikingo. Mm-hmm. And then during his press conference, Don Callis came out and started insulting him. And then Takeshita attacked Kenny Omega. And then I think it was Brian Alvarez tweeted something like, "Oh, someone in the audience got upset with Don Callis, thought it was real essentially, and attacked Don Callis to stop the fight." And the internet was like, "Wow, someone in Mexico thought this was real and attacked Don Callis." But then you actually watch the video and a guy grabbed him and then was like, "Oh wait, no, this is part of the show." Okay, and just left him alone. It was clearly the guy might have grabbed him, not realizing who he was, and then as soon as he realized who he was like, "Oh, all right." And then it was not. This guy thinks it's all real. This guy thought, oh, this guy is trying to hurt someone. Oh, wait, no, that's Don Callis. Okay, I'll stop. It was totally blown out of proportion.
Totally. And the dude helped him up. Like,
right.
I mean, you see that moment, as you just said, like, he's like, oh, I messed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Pats him on the back like, dude, are you okay? We'll talk about this later. But yeah, the internet's awful sometimes. But Brian Alvarez should have known way better than that.
He should have known way better than that. And if he hadn't seen it, if say someone told him that happened,
right,
and then he hadn't seen it, once he saw it, he should have said like, oh, this is not what I expected. I expected, this clearly was just a misunderstanding.
Right.
But no, he's not. To my knowledge, he didn't go back on that. He's just leaving that out there.
Unreal. Anyways.
It makes not to go into a CM Punk rant, but it makes you question his statement of like, there was a attack on Don Callis. Like, it kind of makes you question all the other things he said about like stuff happening. Because if he considers that an attack on Don Callis,
right,
what else does he consider to be like, horrible violence when it's just like two guys bumped into each other?
Right. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I just found that funny that
it was funny.
All things, the one time there's video proof, the internet still just ignores that.
Right.
Well, before we move on, Biddy, are you alive?
Yes. Sorry,
okay,
I choked on my own spit.
Okay. Sick.
All right. That's a great reason to not be speaking right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I just realized I have a mosquito bite very close to a very unfortunate spot on my body.
Did you choke on your own spit because you were so upset at Down Callis?
Yes, that's exactly it.
She thought it was real too.
That's right. You were like, Don Callis did what? And you just like would choke
He makes me choke and vomit.
That's right. You just couldn't speak. You were so upset with him. I understand.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, he did turn on Kenny Omega, so
that's right.
Yeah, how dare he?
But he got Takeshita a cool leather jacket, so I guess they kind of balance out.
Yeah. A cool leather jacket, and he lost the t-shirt, which
that's right.
Oh, so cool.
So I mean, that's the good side. The bad side is he stabbed his friend in the face with a screwdriver. So I guess they kind of even out.
Definitely even out. In wrestling terms, that's definitely right. On the same playing field. We learned this week that we were gonna have more blind eliminator tag matches, and apparently it was the semifinals or quarterfinals. It was weird how nobody knew anything about it. Then all of a sudden it was almost over. But but Darby and Orange Cassidy took on Sammy and Garcia. First and foremost, how has nobody called their tag team Garcia Vara? Needs to happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
Right. And I was so surprised that they won. Didn't see that coming either. I definitely thought Darby and Orange Cassidy would prevail.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It makes sense because if they're furthering the JAS breakup for them to be doing well, makes sense. But yeah,
it was a good match though. I mean, all around. Yeah. Just good.
I mean, all four of them are good, so it makes sense that they have a good match.
But yeah, I was just surprised at the ending. Do you think they actually beat MJF and Cole?
I hope they don't. We'll talk about it more later, but I hope they don't.
Okay. Well, we got to meet Nick Wayne this week, and they gave him a little pre-match, pre-tape promo. And I mean, if that's your introduction to the world, the kid knocked it out of the ballpark. And then his match was banger too, which we will get to. But I like the way that they kind of introduced, well, not kind of, the way that they introduced him. They let Darby kind of do it a couple weeks before. Then they gave him a little video. Would this be something that you would like to see them continue to do, even if it's not someone as big as Nick Wayne?
Yeah, I think I'm sure the internet is upset that there was no video package to introduce the video package. Like, yeah, we saw a video package, but no one told us why we were having a video package. So that's upsetting. But yeah, no, it was good. I liked it, especially because he is basically unknown. Like, it's not like he's like an indie wrestler who you could assume, or someone from New Japan you could assume, oh, maybe half the audience knows. Like, most people haven't seen him wrestle. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And then MJF, Adam Cole, which was probably the most entertaining match of the week. Like, as far as pure, I mean, it was hilarious, and it was just good. First, Big Bill.
It had no right being as entertaining
as it was.
as it was. Like, it was amazing. It was the dumbest, funniest thing. It was great. I loved it. I wasn't totally sold on this team, but now I'll legitimately be sad when they break them up.
When it's over.
Because they're so good.
Yeah. And I mean, the way that this was done, and again, I hate to say that, if they would have done this in WWE, they would have done it wrong. Well, they would have, first off. And that was the fine line of, it was just absurd enough that it was still funny, that it didn't get on your nerves and make you, like, it wasn't too far. It was just enough that it was entertaining and the wrestling was good. And then there'd go like 2 minutes of seriousness, and then all of a sudden it would be crazy again. And that's what was cool. That's what I liked about it.
Someone mentioned MJF makes the crowd cheer for like he can make the crowd cheer for the absolute most rudimentary move. Like he made when he was feuding with Darby, like the headlock takeover became like such a huge thing. And then this match, like he hit a regular body slam, but it was like the crowd went insane. It was great.
When he tweeted that he tweeted out the following day, but he gave Andre the Giant stats. He said, I picked up Big Bill 6'7", 500 pounds.
In front of 90,000 people.
Yeah, that was so good.
It was great. I even liked their little cheesy video they had before when they were like at a bar, and then they switched into like a Fight Forever ad. It was silly and cheesy, and like usually that doesn't work for me because I'm like, why are there cameras filming them while they're at this bar? But like they were so silly that it was funny.
Yeah. It was perfect pro wrestling. Like it was pro wrestling 101. But it was
and now I don't know who turns on who, because before you thought, oh, MJF's just gonna lure him in that he's his friend and he's gonna turn on him. But now I don't know. Now I'm not sure.
Like I think Cole's gonna be the one that turns.
You did say that last week.
Yeah, I'm still feeling that.
I mean, that would be awesome. See, I think Roderick Strong's involved somehow.
Oh, for sure. They wouldn't have had him.
Exactly.
In his little neck brace staring at the TV.
Now, was he jealous of their friendship, or is he like watching out for Adam Cole because he's worried about his friend getting attacked?
I think he's working with MJF. That's my run on it. I think he's the one that turns on Cole, and that's the grand plan that MJF put in.
Because my first thought was he's like jealous of that. Like, he thought that he was going to come to AEW and he was going to have be with his friend, and now Adam Cole's hanging out with his other guy, and he's pretending like he doesn't want to do it, but like they seem like they're having fun, so like he's jealous. So maybe that's why he turns on him.
That makes sense too. I mean, that is also pro wrestling 101, so I'll accept that.
Or it could be that he's looking out for his friend. He's like, oh, I know MJF's going to turn, so I'm gonna do something first before he stabs you in the back.
Right. Man,
Biddy knows things. Much. What does Biddy think?
Yeah.
I Biddy knows things.
Great, thank you, Biddy.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
That was sick. Well, you're halfway there. Finish now before you were rudely interrupted.
Oh, like I said, I think Cole is the one that turns somehow. I don't know how or what. I just hope it doesn't happen for a while, because who would have thought that Adam Cole had like comedic chops a bit.
Again, when you're in the WWE system, they tend to take anything that you have talent-wise away from you.
And now I want them to win this match just so they keep teaming. Like I want them to win this and go on, and like I want them to beat FTR just so they keep teaming, because I want to see it happen.
Yeah. Who would have thought this would ever work, and not just work, but work so good?
And it's like such a like run into the ground like WWE storyline where like two guys who don't like each other, like, can they coexist to win? Like they've done it a million times. Yeah. But this is just they're so good at it. They're so funny with it, and like it's great.
Do you think they're selling their shirt at the arenas?
Of course not. No, not even MJF knew that, because he's like, we have a new shirt. You can buy it online. I know they don't stock things in the building. Buy it online. Which again, I'm not going to rant about it, but it's so silly that they have a new shirt. He mentions the new shirt during the show and then says, go online to buy the shirt. Not Not you could just buy, you could walk 10 feet into the concourse and buy the shirt. No, you got to get your phone and order it and then wait till they ship it to you. Like, no, it makes no sense.
Pay shipping, yeah, that didn't
Makes
make
no sense.
Zero sense. Anyways, Jake Hager returned his hat. That was the next segment.
Yes. Emotional.
It was, and you said you had something to say about it, so we'll let you take the reins.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to him because I thought he was going to stay with Jericho. Because
Same here.
In my eyes, when the JAS broke up, I assumed they would all go off on their separate ways, and then he was just going to stay as Jericho's muscle and be his like guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's going to do without that. Like, he's not going to be on his own.
Yeah,
I instantly thought maybe he's going to be out for a while training for his next MMA fight. Because I mean, he would be gone for at least a couple months for that, and that would be enough to like, not that you could repackage him, but enough to get him away from Jericho for long enough that when he came back, they could be separate
with a different accessory,
different hat. Yes,
blue hat or like I don't know,
a new shirt maybe.
Yeah, gloves.
Somebody
gloves. Maybe he gets gloves.
MMA gloves. That'd be his new thing.
Or like a belt, but he doesn't have pants that require a belt. He's just wearing like a belt.
Listen, he has less personality than a dead squirrel.
But he had the hat, and now it's gone.
Yeah, like the hat gave him personality.
That's the only thing in 4 years of AEW.
So what's he going to do without the hat? That's the question. He doesn't have Jericho or a hat anymore.
Stay in the MMA?
Yeah, stay in MMA. I don't even know where else he fits. Like, he makes zero sense with any other team and even by himself.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Nothing he can do. He should have. I thought he should have stayed with Jericho. I thought he was going to stay with Jericho.
I totally did too. I mean, obviously, it's pro wrestling. That could change in a drop of a hat.
A purple hat.
A purple hat.
Hey, that wasn't even a pun I tried to use. I'm just trying to think of where I could
drop in the old bucket hat.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know where I would like to see Jake Hager.
Pretty sure we've spent more time talking about this than Jake Hager has spent like
thinking about what he was going to do next.
Right, being entertaining on television.
Moving right along, Swerve versus Nick Wayne. What a moment for Nick Wayne, first off.
Yeah.
Imagine, I mean, the dude, this is Wednesday evening. He turned 18 Monday night and was wrestling on national television 2 days later in his first televised match. He wrestled Swerve. It's unreal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a squash. Like,
it was a good match.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
I couldn't even remotely imagine what was going through that kid's head. I would have loved to have sat down and talked to him before and after, because that would have been an interesting conversation. Like, that age, taking that in is just unreal. I don't know. That was nuts to me. That was almost like when a hockey player, that's the only other profession where you could be, well, at basketball too, you could be 18.
You could be 18 and just walk into like a national spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he did that. I mean, he followed a Chris Jericho segment, and then the next segment was the end, the main event. Like, it was unreal. Like, it was just so cool, and he took it like it was he was doing it for 40 years.
I hope that this turns into an actual feud with Swerve, because first of all, it'd be good for him because he's like, he knows Swerve. They've wrestled before, like they have chemistry together. But also, Swerve needs an actual feud because like whatever he's been doing with Keith Lee has like never really turned into much.
Yeah, I agree, and that would be a fun feud. They know each other. Yeah,
and if it was him and Sting and Nick Wayne and Sting and Darby against the Mogul Embassy.
Oh, that's even better.
That would work because he interfered earlier, right? So
yeah. Okay, yeah,
that would work. And again, I want Sting teaming with Nick Wayne.
Yeah.
What's Sting gonna jump off this time?
Yeah. He could literally be Sting could literally be his grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
and he can teach Nick Wayne all the good things: what to jump off of,
Right.
how to let Hogan screw you in the main event of Starrcade, all the important things: how to let WWE screw you, how to let Triple H screw you, how to get stabbed in the back literally every time. Yeah,
all those things.
poor Sting doesn't deserve any of this.
But he's getting a hell of a run.
Yes.
This was the run that he deserved going into his Hall of Fame.
You mean the run he deserved wasn't to show up in WWE, immediately lose his first match, and then
and then have Seth Rollins break his neck
and then get injured?
Yeah. No, that was not part of the plan. Then again, it was WWE. It could have totally been part of the plan.
I'm sure it was their plan.
Yes.
Not the injury part, but I'm sure the rest of it was their plan. Like,
definitely.
I'm sure he would have lost, 10 more times if they could have had him lose more. Would have lost to Vince McMahon.
Guaranteed. Going back to Don Callis, we see the return of Pac.
I was so happy that A, it was Pac, and B, it wasn't Jericho.
Same here. Same.
Because when Don Callis said he was going to announce it, I'm like, he's going to announce that it's Jericho, and I was like so upset, but then it wasn't.
Yeah, totally will accept Pac all day. Does Pac go right from this to Orange Cassidy?
No, I didn't think of that, but yeah, that would, especially with All In coming up.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
And then I hope.
And Pac fits in this whole thing because he's had feuds with a lot of these guys, so he fits too. He's not just like some random person they picked out. It works.
I mean,
but I didn't think of the Orange Cassidy thing, but yeah, that would be good.
Now, do you want him to beat Orange? Would you? I would be totally okay with that. I thought he was a great international champion.
Someone has to admit at this point. It's not that Orange is doing a bad job, but just it's been a long time.
Yeah. And as we'll get to a Battle of the Belts that we're going to go over quickly, he's even running out of ways to win. And not that that's a bad thing, but it was just, I don't know. It didn't do anything, his match at Battle of the Belts. We'll get there.
Now, did this whole segment where they announced the fifth guy of each team, did it seem really rushed to you?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, yes, it did. Well, I mean, Ibushi was lost in the airport. I mean, come on.
I understand why he wasn't there. Like, I get it. But it would have been a lot cooler if he was there versus like Pac's choking him and Kenny's like, yo, yeah, well, I have a video package.
Right. And how people on the internet bought the fake story. It just blows my mind.
People on the internet will buy anything.
But they're like, they couldn't get a hold of him. Like, well, then you call the police. You don't make a video package. Like, if they really couldn't get a hold of him, they would say, oh, okay, well, he can't be here in person. Let's just get some old clips. Like, no, you call the police. Like, and people are just like, they just bought that? Come on.
I just love that, like, Mox and Pac and, like, Takeshita, who are, like, violent killers, were just, like, brutalizing Kenny Omega. And he's like, wait, stop. I have a video to show. And then they showed, and they did. They're like, all right, well, since you had a video, we'll get you next time. And then just, like, walked off.
Yeah. And they acted like you said, they acted like he was there. Like, just the video of him and showing highlights made them stop and clear the ring. It was
right. Like, if he had been there, that would make perfect sense. But, like, the video shouldn't stop them.
It was, well, obviously, Ibushi is in. Is he all elite? That's the next question.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Because where else is he gonna? He's not gonna go to New Japan. He's not gonna go to WWE, unless he There were rumors that he wanted to run his own school and just kind of wrestle part-time. So maybe he does that.
And again, that would be, AEW would totally be okay with that. So
right.
Yeah.
If I'm Tony Khan and he's on the fence, I'd desperately try to sign him, because if you sign him, then Kenny's not going anywhere.
Well, that's there.
Kenny's not finally going to get Ibushi and his friend, wrestling with him, and then go, well, my contract's up. See ya. Like, he's gonna.
Yeah, that's true too.
That took years, but now he's here. I'm leaving. So.
Yeah. Well, then he could tag with Cody.
That's true. Could tag with Cody.
He'd probably win the title before Cody.
Everyone will win the title. I'll win the title before Cody.
That's a very good possibility. Oh, that's incredible. It made me happy. Well, anyways, Ibushi is in the what's it called? The Golden Elite. The
Yes.
Golden Elite are here, which everybody wanted. And this Wednesday at Blood and Guts, it is going to be off the chains.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this version of Blood and Guts is going to be. I mean, it's still going to be violent, but I don't think it's going to rely on violence as much. That's my bold prediction.
I know I know it's involving Mox, but I kind of hope it doesn't go into like deathmatch territory where they're like using skewers in your head, and like I kind of hope it's just like more of a fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And well, I say that's because the other two, or the last one was that, not the other two. The first one is when Jericho did the big bump off the top, and the second one was more of like a death match. So this one I hope is like, I mean, I expect there to be blood. I mean, it's supposed to be a fight, but I don't think they're going to rely on it as much. Watch though, that'll be the night that Chuck Taylor gets used the chainsaw, and we can.
Now you say Mox is going to come out with like a pane of glass and like 5 light tubes and
like battery acid. It's just like.
Well, we're on this topic, I guess makes sense. Fit it in here because I forgot to mention it earlier.
Yes.
What did both of you think of the quote unquote banned list? It doesn't really ban anything, really, but what did both of you think of that?
I mean, a lot of it
makes
makes
sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Like, I mean, I see where people thought, oh, we're going to get a watered down product now, blah, blah, blah. But if you actually took the time to read it, it's basically saying you don't have carte blanche to go out there and do whatever you want. But if it makes sense in your feud, you just submit things and it will get it'll get okayed.
Right. I think that's actually much better because I don't want to see, if 3 guys in the course of a night get a pile driver onto their ring apron, it's like it's kind of dull. So like I would, the permission thing makes a lot of sense because if Mox is like, oh, I want to do a pile driver and there's, oh, Kenny Omega already said he wanted to do that. So how about you do something else? I think that helps.
And you don't have to have guys like, again, I'm not talking smack because these people are way more athletic than me, but like someone like Serpentico versus Angelico, 2 guys don't need to be jumping off of things just to make a name for themselves. Like when you're in AEW, you're still taken care of. And this list and the way that this new standard is the way they're going to have it. It's just better for everyone involved.
Yeah. And I'm sure it sounds unfair, but if Serpentico wants to do a, table spot and Moxley wants to do a table spot, like they're going to let Moxley do it. Which actually makes sense because the table spot shouldn't be in the opening match. It should be in, the higher ranked match. Yeah. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
And it is probably going to prevent some injuries because people aren't just going to go out there and go nuts every single match, which you don't need.
For no reason.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that before. Like, I love Darby Allin, but he doesn't need to, break his neck on the first match of a Rampage.
Right. And I like the way they, they said they wanted to do it for injury preparedness too. So if there is a crazy spot coming up, the referees will legitimately, know when it's coming. It won't be this big surprise. Oh, so-and-so just jumped off the blah, blah, blah. No, okay, here it comes. I need to run and get to this spot or something.
Right.
It'll just make way more sense.
I agree.
Now, the people that were mad at it, just get your head out of your ass. Sorry for the language. Why you wouldn't want that is beyond me.
And why you necessarily assume that, that means now it's going to be WWE and they're not going to take any chances. That's not what anything said. Yeah. Right. It's not going to be WWE where if someone has a drop of blood, they stop the whole match. They're clearly not going to do that.
Exactly. And it's, well, I'm going to go on a little rant here.
Go for it.
Yes. Just minor. This week, the almighty Jim Cornette said that he's tired of these people. They're going to kill themselves. That nobody in AEW has talent. And he literally said the word nobody. So does he think Bryan Danielson's not talented? First and foremost, that's when I started to quit listening to what he had to say. And the second thing he started to say was, that made me quit listening is that, you know, they're willingly putting themselves in danger, blah, blah, blah. Like the average person knows that. And the average person also knows that every professional athlete in every sport puts themselves in danger, and they know it. Like they're very aware. Like, I mean, a guy died on the NFL field last year. They brought him back to life. It was an accident. Those things happen. And
the list, the rules or the list or whatever you're going to call it helps, because if you have to ask permission and someone comes to Tony Khan and was like, you know what I want to do? I want to jump off a ladder head first onto concrete. Tony Khan could go, are you sure? Like, we're not going to let you do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's silly. Right?
Yeah. And he just went on this big tirade and then like made it sound like that only happens in AEW and no other professional sport. Like, you know, they're not aware that they get hurt. Yeah, they do. Every professional athlete knows at any minute they could not walk again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. I don't know. That just was one thing that really got on my nerves this week. And to say that nobody in AEW has talent. I mean, come on. How could you make a statement so idiotic?
Because you're a grumpy old ass.
I mean, yeah, but
I can see, like, I can
Come
see
on.
if someone doesn't like John Moxley, for example. Like, he's a particular type of wrestling that if you don't like, you know,
Right.
blood and you don't like specific violence, I could see you thinking, oh, I don't like watching his matches. Fine.
Right.
Like, you don't have to like, but like Kenny Omega or Bryan Danielson or, you know, a lot of guys at that level, like Pac even, Claudio, how can you say like they're not? Yeah, I can see like not liking Moxley or not liking the Bucks, for example, because if you don't like the way they wrestle. But like some of these guys like are incredible.
Yeah. I don't. It was just one of the things this week that it was just dumb. But moving in a positive fact, we had Collision last night.
Well, before we go to Collision, I just want to ask you guys who wins Blood and Guts.
Oh, that's a good one.
I have no idea.
I'll just if it's going to be over, that's how we'll know if it's over. If the Elite win, it's over. If the BCC wins, they're going to drag it on.
I agree, and I kind of hope it's over. Not that the feud isn't bad,
here.
But I kind of want them to move on to other things.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, yeah, how many months? It's been at least like what, 3 months or so, if not more.
And it was kind of weird that like the death match between Mox and Hangman, that's not like usually death match is the end of something, and it wasn't. And then they had Anarchy in the Arena, which you know thought it would be the end of something, and it wasn't. So like Blood and Guts should be it should be the end.
I agree. So much is going to happen this Wednesday.
Do you think Danielson is there? Not obviously wrestling or not physically involved, but do you think he's there?
Oh yeah, I bet you.
Like he shows up with like a cast or something.
Amateurs.
Yeah, he'll just come out and yell at everybody. That'd be
just
sick.
stand there yelling amateurs over the. I would be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be totally okay with that. That'd be incredible.
Be great.
Oh, what if he's the man? Because you know someone's going to bring the keys out. What if he's the man that brings the keys to unlock the door out? I mean, that.
At least I hope he does. At least I hope he does commentary. At least, at least that much.
And it is sponsored by Shark Week. Are we going to have a shark cage again this year?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go tell Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
I'll look downhill from there.
Yes. So Collision. Can we say that the first hour of Collision was better than the entire hour of Battle of the Belts?
Yeah. I mean, the second hour of Collision was better than the entire hour of Battle of the Belts.
Yeah.
That was incredible. The tag match was outstanding.
Before we go any further, Biddy, like I'm glad you haven't watched because I want your genuine reactions to this. Were you surprised that it was a full hour match on television?
Kind of, but not really.
Same. Oh, see, so I was blown away. I did not think it was going a full hour.
I suspected it as like when you went like I don't know half an hour and there was no falls, then I'm like, oh, this is going to go a long time.
I guess in hindsight.
And they could do it. Like they're all so good. Like I've said before, I didn't care for Juice Robinson before, but now he's great. And I think he's doing an excellent job. Like all of it was good. It was like booked properly. It was like, it wasn't just like spots, and they didn't even do, you know, the knock a lot of people have, and I have too, is like kicking out of finishers constantly. Like that is a bit of a problem. Like if someone has to hit 4 finishers before the match is over, like it takes a little bit out of it. But like there was a lot of near falls and kickouts, but they weren't usually from finishers. They were from like, a superplex or like whatever. Right. And yeah, it was great. Great match.
Oh, superb match. And one of the highlights, talk about comedy, at the beginning of the match, when Juice Robinson yelled at Paul Turner, I legit LOL'd. Like, he goes, shut up, Paul.
Juice Robinson is hilarious. He's great.
Oh, he's, another level hilarious.
And Jay White Dax is pretty good, but Jay White knows how to do a sharpshooter, which is not.
Yes.
He's really good at it. Most wrestlers aren't, and he is. Dax's was pretty good too. But like when Jay White put on a sharpshooter, I'm like, oh, he's doing it correctly. Bret Hart must be so happy.
Well, speaking of, during that match, there were 9 Bret the Hitman Hart references.
Oh, okay. All right.
I counted.
Someone said it seemed a little weird that there was so many Bret Hart references on a night that was about Owen. But then the counterpoint is Owen's whole thing was like being in the shadow of Bret. So it kind of fits.
Yeah.
He didn't, like, no offense to Owen, but he didn't really have too many signature, like his finisher was also the sharpshooter. So.
Oh, that's true.
Like the Enziguri was something he did that Bret didn't do, but.
And he did a moonsault too, didn't he? Or did he do like the sit down moonsault where you like jump and bounce off the ropes? He did something like that.
He did moonsaults, but not so much later on.
No, okay. Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Well, FTR retains. Like we said, it went a full 30 minutes without even having a fall, which was unreal.
Did you think it was going to end up in a time limit?
When they actually announced it and then started to reference how it would end, I was like, "Oh, that would be interesting." Like a 2 out of 3 falls match. Of course, it would be the champion's advantage. But
see, that made me think it wasn't going to, because they talked about it so much. As soon as they started talking about how, like, oh, what happens if it's a draw? Then, like, oh, it's not going to be a draw. I think if they were going to have it be a draw, they wouldn't have mentioned it.
Oh, that's true. Then you were like, oh, what happens next? That good call. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Yeah, Biddy, highly, highly recommended match.
The only weird thing was I think they were short on time because they had the dual sharpshooters when they were. Yeah. And then they kind of just both fell over. And I think that spot was supposed to be longer. It was supposed to be more of like, Jay White and Juice trying to talk to each other into not submitting, and then finally and then I think they had to rush it because they're like, there's only 3 minutes left. You got to keep going. So but like that was not a knock on it, but it's the only part of it that was a little odd.
Now, is that feud over?
Kind of, because that was a pretty final match, but I hope not, because they're so good.
I was trying to think like what could be next. Like, could we get the Bucks FTR?
Yeah, because Jay White, I like Juice Robinson, but I think Jay White should be in like a one-on-one feud next.
Yeah, see, I was thinking maybe him for the international, but I want Pac to get it back.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do want.
Collision has been great. Like, I've loved all the shows, but they do kind of have to expand their roster because it's basically just Andrade and House of Black, FTR, Ricky Starks, CM Punk, Bullet Club. Like that, they're all great and they've had great shows, but I think they kind of have to bring some new people onto it now.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that too.
So I don't know, but yeah, I hope they both go on to good things.
We had the women's final, Ruby Soho, Willow Nightingale. I have a little theory, but first off, kudos to AEW. Like we talked about not last week because we screwed up, but the week before, the Owen felt more important this year.
Agreed.
And going into
it was more about Owen, like the wrestler. Like they talked about Owen a lot more, and they
and the finals were, obviously other than CM Punk and Ruby, like the winners were not as known, which I liked this year.
Yeah.
Like not that Adam Cole and Britt Baker were bad last year, but I thought it should have been somebody else.
I thought they were a good first set of winners to establish it as like a big thing.
Yeah. True.
It's like, oh, the big names won it, so it's a big thing. Whereas like if a mid card person won it, you'd be like, okay, is this like a mid card tournament? Whereas like if someone big won it the first year, like, oh, this is a big thing. And then going forward, like now Willow's pushed up to the level of Britt Baker because she also won.
True.
Yeah. I was surprised she won though.
Yeah, well, this is my theory. Does this make Ruby Soho, and it's not a knock on her or a bad thing, is she the benchmark for when you're ready to step up to the like main event for the women's?
Yeah, like, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, she's not necessarily going to have a title. She's not going to be like the face of the division. Again, not that I'm not saying that she shouldn't or couldn't be, but
no, but that makes sense. Yeah.
She has she has the credentials. She's a known person from WWE. If you beat her all of a sudden just because of who she was,
yeah,
that elevates you without, you don't need a belt. There's no expectation, but you beat the person. I don't know.
That makes sense.
The most popular person, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The internet is kind of salty that she didn't win. They're like, why is she a jobber just like she was in WWE? Why are they doing this to Ruby?
Like, I see that, but like maybe she doesn't. Well, I mean, look, maybe she doesn't want it.
And she's not like jobbing out. Like she's still a main.
Right.
Yeah.
It was still a banger match.
Like, I mean, how many? Not to say they're equals, but they not even say they're not equals. How many matches did Bryan Danielson lost in AEW?
Right.
True. Very true.
And no one was going to say he's looks bad.
Right.
I mean, people will because it's the internet, but the general opinion will be, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you think she has the best promos in women's division?
Her promo game has really stepped up.
It's gotten really good.
And as I said at the beginning when she first signed, she needed to unlearn everything that WWE taught her.
Right. Yeah.
Once she got rid of the stupid faces and the disbelief of when someone kicks out and they have a heart attack and
right,
like that promo that she cut on, what was it? It wasn't
Willow.
Road to this. Well, yeah, no, but it was
about the final. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on. I think they didn't do Road 2. Didn't they do Control Center?
Control Center.
I think they just do Control Center now. This is the same sort of thing, but
yeah, it was off the hook. Like
really good.
It was full of energy, and she was like, oh, it was just good. Yeah.
I said to you offline, like I love I think the green hair and like the kind of manic expression. Like she seemed kind of Jokerish to me, and I liked it.
Yeah. I
liked it a lot.
it was so good. The kind of pointless match on Collision was the Kings of the Black Throne squash that basically just had Andrade then come out. And why does Andrade have a cane all of a sudden?
Same reason why Keith Lee had a cape for a while.
True.
I thought I get why they did it, but I thought they should have done it after the tag match because it was kind of like a cool down for the crowd. Yeah,
because I mean, it took what, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah, I totally forgot that they're the Trios champions until they showed up holding belts. Like I honestly did. They came out with belts, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Trios titles."
Yeah, it's been a while since they've. Well, they did the pay-per-view, right?
Right.
Yeah, but they weren't on.
They weren't on Forbidden Door.
They weren't on Forbidden Door. They were okay. Yeah. So it's been a little bit.
I know Andrade tried to explain the mask, like why he cares about the mask so much, and it was an okay explanation, but why does he care about the mask so much?
Yeah,
like honestly.
Yeah, and I just think they're biding time until Roosh comes back, and I think the LFI is gonna challenge for the belts. That's my guess, because I think Roosh just had a child, and I think he's on paternity leave.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong on that though. Yeah. I think I read that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little weird. These guys are all really good, but it's a little weird.
Yeah. It'll be fun though.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, I have a little bit to go on here. The men's Owen final between Punk and Ricky Starks. Okay, just warning, the internet was upset.
No.
Yeah. The internet was very mad that Ricky Starks broke the rules to win. Apparently, they never watched an Owen Hart match in their life. Of all wins, Owen would be proud.
Yeah,
Ricky
I was
Starks
a little
cheating to win.
My first thought, I'll admit, was like, oh, it would have been cooler if he won clean. But then I was like, no, you're right. That's a very
It's a very Owen thing.
Yeah.
And the way that he did it, like, and then like kind of looked back and gave like the ref a look, like, oh, you missed that one.
The way
like,
he did it too, he held onto the ropes, but like you kind of thought like he didn't even really need to. He just did
yeah,
it.
yeah. And then like the thing that I thought was cool, like when Willow accepted like her belt from Martha, she was like, oh, she was grateful and she was Willow, but she was like she was a person too.
Right.
Where Ricky Starks stayed in character and did the Ricky Starks pose and kissed the belt.
So did they bring out Jushin Liger all the way from Japan
for 9 seconds?
For like a 10-second bit where like he goes down and Ricky just runs off with it?
Yes.
If I hadn't heard on Twitter that like he posted that he was flying to Calgary, I would have thought they just got some guy in his costume.
Yes.
Just put some guy in a costume because you can't see him.
Right. That
was funny. Him just grabbing the trophy and running away. That was funny.
Yes. And
I think the guys should have got flowers too, though. The women got flowers. Why didn't the guys get flowers?
That's true. Yeah. And I don't think they told anybody that they were supposed to take the cup, because did you notice like Willow was kind of like, am I supposed to take this backstage?
I think they knew that there was a segment coming up, so they were like, oh, do we take it now or do we take it later?
Right.
Yeah, it was no one really you're right. I feel like no one filled them in.
But I love the heel win. I love that Stark stayed in character and didn't make it like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, it's still pro wrestling.
Now, do you think he's turning heel, or was it just for this?
1,000% we're going to get heel Ricky Starks.
How do you feel about that?
Love it.
I'm a little torn because he was getting over so well as a face. Like, I'm sure he could get over as a heel too.
Oh, he's such a better heel.
It's just he was getting over really well as a face, and I kind of wanted to see him stay that way.
Yeah. And my other little notice from this match, this proved that Punk is a company man. I don't care what anybody says. This wasn't about him. This wasn't even about Ricky Starks. It was about Owen Hart and what was best for like the actual winner of the tournament. And it made more sense for Ricky to win than CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't need to win.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So we were both wrong about the women's match.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
We were all wrong.
Yeah, we were all wrong.
We thought it was going to be Athena.
Yeah.
Very true.
So we were all very wrong. But again, me and Biddy were right about this.
Yep.
What?
That we both picked Ricky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even know where my head went with that. It's like I totally forgot what we were talking about.
So once again, you have not won.
That's true. That is true. That is very true. I'm just not good at this. Hey, I called Action Andretti beating Jericho.
That's true. Do you think this is a Punk Ricky feud then? That would be fun.
That would be.
Weren't they
really
friends
fun.
like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, but now he cheated.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those two could yap at each other real well, that's for sure.
Yeah, like they have really good promos.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I was just going to ask you what's next for Punk, but yeah, I mean, I could see them taking this to letting this keep going.
Do you think Punk gets the same mixed, mostly more boos than cheers, but still mixed reaction now that he's out of Canada? Canada doesn't seem to like him, but do you think he gets more cheers elsewhere?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. It just depends on the mood that I think that he's in and the vibe that he gives.
And it depends, I think, like the smarkier, the more not knowledgeable, but like the more like insider crowds are going to boo him more than like the less insider crowds.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Though I do like that his whole gimmick is loving Bret Hart, and he gets to Calgary and still some people are like, yeah, no. Still don't like you.
Yeah. I loved all throughout the show the black and pink.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was so fun.
I loved a couple weeks ago Hobbs's gear because it looked just like Owen's gear.
Yes, it did. And I was so upset. I thought it said the Book of Heart instead of Hobbs, but it did say Hobbs.
Mm.
Well, that was Collision.
Collision was great. Collision's been great. It's been a great show.
Collision has
what did you think of Ian Riccaboni instead of Kevin Kelly?
I loved it. I love Ian Riccaboni. I thought he did a heck of a job. People were they want him to take over for Kevin Kelly.
I think both of them. I think both of them are good. I wouldn't be upset either way.
And I mean, I'm glad that they're both there because I mean, Kevin Kelly can still do the New Japan stuff when needed, and Ian Riccaboni is he's capable. It's not like it's a downgrade if Kevin Kelly's not going to be there. So yeah. But on to Battle of the Belts. As you could probably guess if you haven't by now, we all thought that it was. Well, Biddy hasn't watched it. Biddy, don't watch it. It's a waste of an hour.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's the rampage of Collision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biddy was in the woods glamping this past weekend, so.
Right.
You know how like Dynamite is great, and then there's Rampage, and it's fine. It's the rampage of Collision. Like it was fine. But if you're not going to watch Rampage, you don't need to watch this either. No offense to like the show, like the matches were all fine, but like it really is a thing. Like you could have just not watched it, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, every time they do a battle of the belts don't change hands at all ever.
And
it's
they're
like,
never
what's
in
the point.
And they're never in danger of changing hands.
Right.
Because like when like Taya Valkyrie challenged Toni Storm on Friday for a match on Saturday, you're like, I know she's not going to win. Like if she had challenged her, a month ago and they built up a feud, maybe. But like, you know it's not going to happen.
Well, that's the question. Will it happen ever?
I think they have to build like they honestly acted like they realized on Friday that Battle of the Belts was tomorrow or on
like,
Wednesday, I guess. And we're like, oh no, we forgot about that. Like I think they have to treat it like a special episode of Dynamite or something where like they build up to it. Because if they're just going to throw matches together, then what's the point?
Yeah, like if they would do Battle of the Belts, like, I don't know, just say every 7 weeks. I don't know, just randomly.
Right.
You at least there's an end game. Like, okay, between now and now, we have to get to here.
And they can build up to it. Like, we don't have a pay-per-view this month, but this is, basically the pay-per-view, right? But running it the way it is, like, it's like the Collision was great for 2 hours, and then it's like, okay, this is fine, but why are we? It should have been the opposite order if they were going to do. Like these matches should have been on. Like they should have had the hour-long tag matches, Battle of the Belts. Right. That would have been more interesting.
Right. Yeah, Battle of the Belts was like how I did my homework in high school and college. It was done, but it was very poor.
Right. Like Tony Khan sat there was like, someone has to face Orange. Lance Archer? And just like
is anyone busy? Like yeah.
He's available, right? Okay. Also, I don't think we need to go match by match, but what really bothered me is why is Taya Valkyrie suddenly from Calgary?
Boy, she is, isn't she?
No, she's from Vancouver.
Oh.
The answer is being from Vancouver all the time. And then yesterday they're like, she's from Calgary. And Ian Riccaboni quickly told you like, oh yeah, she trained in Calgary. But that's fine if she considers Calgary her hometown. But she didn't until yesterday.
That is hilarious. I just totally bought it and was like, oh yes.
Like I looked it up before I said that just to make sure. Nope, listed, born Victoria, British Columbia. And she's always been announced as from British Columbia, like sorry, not Vancouver, Victoria, British Columbia. But I know when she showed up, like the first segment against Jade, when she was like, I'm looking for another Canadian. She came out and they were like, she is from British Columbia. And then all of a sudden now she's from Calgary. And again, if like you can totally be born in one place and consider another place your hometown, that makes perfect sense. But she never considered her hometown until yesterday.
That's amazing. Yeah, like there was weather issues with that match. And honestly, that for me took the little bit of wind that was left in the sails totally out.
I agree.
When it came back from that, I was like, eh.
And they didn't even know why what they'd missed because they didn't mention They didn't mention what happened. Like if they knew they'd missed it, they could have just shown a replay of the ending right when they came back. But it seemed like they didn't even know how long it was gone for.
Right.
Or how much wasn't on TV. Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah.
So Orange retained. What did you think of Orange retaining?
He won by count out. And I get that like he's running out of ways to win because he's so injured, blah blah blah. Like they keep like explaining that. So
Yeah.
it's getting on my nerves because the person that beats him is going to be like, oh, well, yeah, of course they beat him because the dude was so beat up he couldn't defend himself. Like,
right.
It's kind of cheapening whoever beats him.
I thought maybe there was a chance Lance Archer would win because he hasn't been around for a while. So
Right.
like, he showed up and just came back and immediately crushed him. That would have made sense to me.
Yeah, even if he has the belt only until 42 days from now at All In, like that would have made sense. Yeah.
It was weird. Like Orange he's had a great run. Like I'm not discounting his run.
Totally.
But like, yeah, you're right. It is going to be a little weird that like, oh yeah, he lost finally, but it's because he got his hand broken a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about it before, but for some reason they waited until Battle of the Belts to do the Owen final trophy presentation.
Yeah, I get why, because they want it's kind of a reason to make you watch Battle of the Belts, I guess.
Well, that's true too. I thought Martha, she was a little more sober this year. So it wasn't as like, hey everybody.
And she was more like, I think the last year she was just excited to be there, whereas this time she had like stuff to talk about, and like it seemed a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Tony Khan had a cowboy hat on, and that was sick.
Oh, God.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. That hat was obscenely expensive. It had to have been.
Or he bought it off a street vendor. I was
either
thinking either way.
He got it for $5, or he got it for
$500.
$5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Tony Khan's entire vibe. His outfit could cost $50 or it could cost $10,000. You have no clue.
And like, now that I know that that's something, if I ever go to Calgary, 1000% I'm buying a cowboy hat. Because like, that's my plan. If I ever go to Texas, that's the first thing I'm doing.
I had family who lived in Texas. Like I was a kid, so it was a kid-sized one, but they brought me one. Oh, not Texas, Calgary, sorry. And when they came back from Calgary, they brought me a cowboy hat. So I had one for a while.
That's sick.
It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. Those are like, I don't have many goals in life, but if I ever go to Calgary or Texas and buy a cowboy hat, that's, I don't know, it's not even a goal really. It's just, if I happen to ever travel there. And like the main event, do we even have to talk about it? It was
Luchas. Oh, we missed the Acclaimed QTV.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. It was fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
The Acclaimed accepted QTV's,
so what even is this challenge? Because they want them they want to be in the Royal Rampage, which I thought was like a battle royal, is it not?
Yeah.
So why are you challenging them to be in a battle royal?
Yeah, that's like, I don't understand. Is it a Royal Rampage just against them 6?
I don't think so, because I think they mentioned like, oh, whoever else is like Matt Hardy or something is in it. So I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm very, very confused.
Like, and no offense to Matt Hardy, but now when they say Matt Hardy's in something, I'm kind of, it's like, oh, so it's not important.
Yes. And I'm going to say it again and again and again. I think Johnny TV is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
That is the greatest name ever.
Did you guys like the rap from a couple weeks, like from a little while back?
No.
Harley Cameron is the new Brian Cage.
I thought it was fun.
Oh, it was terrible.
I had no problem with it. I think it is going to turn out that she lip synced. Like they're going to find some other, actual rapper who was rapping. And it's going to be like, when Double J turned out Road Dogg was the one singing the song.
What if it was Double J rapping?
What if it was Double J? Maybe it could be. Maybe it's Road Dogg. I don't know.
He's sick too.
But I think that's how it's going to turn out. And I think that's stupid, obviously. But like, it was funny. I liked it.
Like, people think that like that she's so talented and she's this and she's that. Like, I mean, yeah, she could sing, but that was just like, that had no business being. That shouldn't have been on YouTube.
I thought it was better than it would have been. Like, I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, no way. That was the most awful segment ever.
No, the most awful segment ever was this week when QT Marshall was like, "What? Do you want me to hit the biggest guy in the company to prove that I'm bad? That I'm sorry?" And Hobbs is like, "Yeah." Like, okay, so what's he gonna do? Like, hit Satnam Singh or something? Like,
he's maybe challenged him to some mini golf or bowling. Those were two of the greatest pictures I ever found on the internet. By the way,
this is also weird. Like, AEW, 90% of it is so great, and then they're just like, there's like a 5 to 10% that I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
And I mean, that's a good ratio, and it's much better than having
absolutely.
a 10% good, 90% nonsense.
I was gonna say the other company's the other way around.
Yeah, that's like 2014 WWE or 2015 WWE, where like 90% of it is garbage, and like maybe Daniel Bryan will have a match. But like,
Right. Yeah, it's
but it's so weird.
It is, and like the whole thing with QT, he gets it, and he's so good at it, but it just doesn't. People don't buy it. They just legit hate him.
Right.
Like I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah. I did enjoy Sean Spears going back to the creepy chair entrance.
That was awesome. I thought he was going to win. I thought that's how they were going to end the Canadian tour, because his match made even less sense than Lance Archer, but the guy's from Canada.
Right.
I mean, he hasn't been on TV in a while, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then, nope, they didn't do that either.
The only part of it I really enjoyed was after Luchasaurus won. Biddy spoiler, sorry, Luchasaurus wins.
Yeah, he wins.
I know. You guys, I always know everything that's happened, even if I didn't watch it. It's still like Instagram and stuff. So
my favorite part of it though was like he won, and the ref goes to give Luchasaurus the title, and Christian sprints into the ring and dives in front of it and grabs the belt. That was the best part. Like, no, it's not his. Like,
did you guys hear what he said to Calgary? Like when the show went off the air, though, I just saw it.
What, Christian?
Just ragged on Calgary like for like a good like 3 minutes after it ended.
Best. I loved it. He came out before Forbidden Door for no reason other than just to say he didn't want to be in Toronto. It was great.
Yeah.
Like that, it wasn't even on TV. He just came out
and there was no reason for it.
Yeah.
Like he just Tony Khan was just like, "Here's Toronto's own Christian Cage." He's like, "I don't like it here. I don't want to be here."
Yeah,
so awesome.
Yeah, he pooped all over Calgary.
He's great.
And see, the thing about that is, if I would watch that, like, there's probably so many only Canadian jokes
that you wouldn't get.
That I wouldn't get, that he specifically planned out that those people would get. Oh, yeah. He's so good.
So Scorpio Sky, Luchasaurus, I guess that's next.
I hope.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. Now, are we going to see Edge in 2023?
I don't think so. It would be really great, but I don't think so.
You don't think he's going to sign at all?
No, because I think they're going to give him all the money to do nothing. And I mean, of course, why would you not take that?
Yeah, but I mean, you have Christian on the other end of that phone saying, "Dude, come on, you're already a millionaire. Come here and let's do something that we always talked about."
I can see them saying, that would be great, but I can really see them being like, "You'll have a Legends deal where you have to do nothing, and we'll pay you $1 million a year." And like, wouldn't you take that?
I mean,
like if you have to do literally nothing, if you have like the Bret Hart deal where like all you have to do is not be on AEW, and we'll pay you $1 million.
I mean, I totally get that. I totally understand that. But I'm also thinking, like, I also don't have $10 million other dollars in the bank.
Right. Yeah, I agree. No, I think it would be really cool, but I don't think he's going.
Yeah. I hope he does. But I don't know. What a freaking week.
It was quite the week, and this week, I guess, it's gonna be really great.
This week.
Yeah. Sorry for missing time, guys. I know you're probably very disappointed, but
like I said, last week was poor planning. And
we forgot to do our plugs at the beginning, which our plan was too. So we'll do it at the end.
We'll do it at the end. I had that written down.
All right. You're a professional.
I am professional. Anyways, does anybody have anything to add before we go?
No.
Sick. No.
Wow. I love having Biddy on these podcasts.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because we mostly just talk amongst ourselves, and every once in a while, Biddy's just like, no. It's great.
Again, making another high school analogy. Biddy, it was me answering a teacher in high school. Does anyone have anything to say? No, I just want to leave.
I want to leave. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I need to turn my air conditioner back on. I'm melting.
Oh,
well, look at you with a functioning air conditioner. You think you're so great.
I'm sweating my ass off right now.
Yeah. Should I turn it on so you can hear what a functioning air conditioner is?
Anyways, if no one has anything to add, we'll stop here. I don't know. It was fun. The first Canadian tour for AEW is over. Before we go, do you think this becomes a yearly thing? The Canadian tour?
I think they have to choose their cities better, because no offense to like places in Saskatchewan or whatever, but like they went to some pretty small places where they didn't sell very many tickets.
They didn't go to Vancouver either.
That was odd. Yeah, that was odd. And in Montreal, apparently they're going to later, but they didn't do it as part of this tour. I could see them doing like a yearly, like Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, and I can see them hitting the smaller towns a bit less often.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And like that sucks for them, obviously, like for the people in those places, obviously. But like,
get in your car and drive.
I think like the attendance for these was like 5,000 or something, which is fine. But maybe it's because it was short notice. Maybe it's because it was, various factors. But I mean, the shows were great and the crowds were pretty good. But I don't know. I feel like they might have to tone it down next year.
And that makes sense. But it'll just be interesting. I mean, it was glad.
Fun for sure. It was like they all had their own kind of little, like their own feel. It was fun to have the Owen tournament all in Canada. Like that was cool.
Yes. I honestly, I hope that Owen just stays in Canada next year again. Like from now on, like it just makes so much more sense.
I mean, they could do it in Chicago. They haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, it's been about 12 minutes. Pittsburgh needs another show. Once a year is not cutting it.
Well, you should have moved to Chicago. You can get like 5 shows a year.
Yeah.
5 shows a week.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Well, I mean, they're going to be at Penn State, but I'm not driving up there.
Yeah, I'm not driving. I'm not driving a Happy Valley.
I like because when I said like, oh, they're not doing this. They shouldn't do the smaller towns in Canada. That's unfair for them. Your first thought was, well, get in your car and drive. And then they go, oh, they're doing it 2 hours from you. Oh, I'm not driving.
And
well, see, the only thing that sucks about Penn State, if you're going there from Pittsburgh and driving home, you're on, I don't forget which road it is, but it's straighter than a freaking arrow. And it's just in the middle of the woods. Like all of a sudden you're driving. It's like, oh, there's an entire college.
Yeah, I've never been there.
Oh, it's literally, it's the most boring drive ever. You just get on.
I drove across the turnpike today, and that's pretty boring.
But at least there's things to look at. Like you're literally just surrounded by woods. Yeah, like there's not even cows on the way.
Us ending with traffic talk is very similar to like AEW being like teaser for Blood and Guts, and then Collision, and then the Women Tournament, and here's Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, yeah. Here's Pennsylvania traffic.
So end on a high note. We're talking about traffic.
Anyway,
EliteCityPod.com
on
social media. We're on Threads now. I have done nothing on it, but we're on it.
We are on Threads.
Like, share, subscribe. I don't know.
Retweet.
Tell your friends.
If Twitter still exists.
Tell your friends. Yeah.
Tell your grandparents.
Send a letter.
Your mommy and your daddy.
Rate. I don't know what youths do. Whatever. The youths must be on a social network that I haven't even heard of yet. So send it on there, whatever network that is. Do that.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
There's got to be a social network that the young people are on that I'm not even aware of.
Well, there's probably 47 of them.
Yeah, use those. Whatever those are.
I should just pay
glorp it to someone or whatever.
Glorp it.
I don't know.
See? Do your glippity glorps.
It's a missed opportunity. Do all that. At Elite City Pod on all social media. Find us there. Say hi. We will say hi back. Rick, do you have a question of the week?
Oh yeah, I should have had one. I don't. So.
Sick.
Excellent. We're really good at this.
Well, we are very good at. Thanks for listening.
I just thought of one. So, how the general audience? How would you improve Battle of the Belts? How about that?
Oh, that's a good one.
Since we ragged on it for.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So we'll
very
do
good.
That.
Good job.
We try. Anyways, until next week. It's been fun. See you later. Bye.